Well, good morning. Nice 77-degree day. Try to get some work done today without killing myself. Thought I had the self-tappers because I have to move the brackets forward for the sway bar to compensate for the fact that we're going to go in with a much larger sway bar in the very near future. Like twice the size, so I got to kick it forward a half an inch to make room for it, so it'll fit the same trajectory, I guess. Okay. This should be my keep cutting the tar out of myself with these nuts and bolts. I'm still bleeding from the last go round from under the car this morning. Okay. Here we go, getting this done. I don't want the gaskets in here because this is going to be coming on and off several times. I don't feel like buying another set of gaskets that I don't have to. Getting her done, getting her done. I would have had the sway bar in, but I thought I had some. Only thing I got some small ones. I need something 3/8 or bigger for that, because there's multiple layers of metal, and every time I use a self-tapping drill bit, when it gets to the 2 layers of metal and starts to push on it, it locks up and snaps the bit. So I did get some drill bit breaking today. I got that accomplished. See if this will work. Well, guess what? Not as good as I thought it was. Let me grab a ratchet. Most people go so far they hit something like that and they stop. I just swing over to something else. All the metal shavings and what I get for laying under the vehicle when I'm doing my thing. Little physical therapy for that shoulder. I overdid it basically 100 times over what I should have been doing. And the store-bought shoulder let me know that I wasn't supposed to be putting super uggas on the engine stand to move the engine in place. Now tomorrow, Jimmy will be here to pick me up because I don't have a car yet. BMW finally sent the tool to do the recall on my son's car. They sent the part and forgot to send the tool to install the part with. And you can see there's sharp edges all over this cart. I got myself twice more today. I got this finger in the back of my hand. Looks like I've been in a fight with a old alley cat and lost. They didn't waste any money polishing the edges, the burrs off the middle before it went into production. Come on, just a little snug. The original plan was to build these headers on the mock-up, but the mock-up set totally level in here, and this one with the transmission and everything, I could get the down angle on the drive shaft like I have on the tail shaft like I have now, which brings this up just a touch, which could throw something off up here. Now with this in place, I got to polish the other one here in a few minutes. Get the burrs and the paint off of it. This is a special coating type paint. It's good for aluminum, steel. Calipers, aluminum and steel. Engine parts, aluminum and steel. Whatever you want to paint, aluminum and steel. And other materials with the approved primer. So I was trying to find something close to the MG maroon. That's as close as I could get it in a heat treated paint. It didn't cost $36 for a little can of it. Oh, that looks so good. Right down to the broken spark plug. I had fun teasing my grandson when he broke it. Sorry I walked away from you for a second. I gotta take the wheel and buff off these little cut edges, clean those up, get the paint stuff off of them. I hit it with primer because then when you measure it, you're in shadows and stuff like that. You take your Sharpie and draw your line, just follow your line and you're true every time. Okay. This will be sitting here. And that's it. What I'm doing is this is angled. I'm going to cut it at the bevel, bring this out straight. 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 And then I can, since this is going to be a large diameter tube slightly, I'm going to tilt it out and give myself a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch down between the body rail, chassis rail, and the header collector, and we're good to go. I don't know if I can get that camera down here. We'll try it. Okay, you see what we're doing? At the same time, I got stuff all over the lens. Don't know how that happened. Anyway, the brake line and the header, and we'll just prove that to you. I love it when a plan comes together because normally it doesn't. I got to do something about that rubber in that sleeve. There's a rubber piece in there. Look at that. I got over 2 inches when the tire's dead on, okay? And I'll have a little extra room when I put the spacer in, because I'm running 15/7s with the same back set as the MG wheel, but the front offset's farther out. So I get to put on, you guessed it, I will be putting on 4 wheel flares. You ever build them before? I haven't. I'm going to try it. Nothing tried. Sorry about jerking that camera around. I don't know what is going on with the stand today. I had it on earlier, okay? Had it all set up. It was looking good. Next thing I know, I'm going like this to stay in front of the camera. I think it's just getting worn. Okay, and here, show you what we're doing. Here, I'm just going to take this off the tripod. It's getting in my way. I could spin the camera and leave the tripod alone. I did that once. Ruined a perfectly good video because all of a sudden it looked like you were going, ooh. I strapped it down, took the flapper wheel, cleaned their primer, their paint off, my overspray. Then I touched the tops up and cleaned them up. Then I radiused them, got all the way up in there because that next tube will fit down right on this plate. Okay. See, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I got a 7th bolt for free. Cool. I'll put that in my nut and bolt stash. Now while we're at it, we might as well address this issue. And we're moving on pretty good, people. I'm going to slow down a little bit on the build so I can build some better, longer videos of the build itself and do some editing and stuff, which I've never done before. So I got to learn how to do it, and then I got to get the stuff to do it with. So I'll be doing that as like a side project, like the other ones I got going on. This is my main side project right now. This is my GM rear end, 410 posi. I cleaned all the stuff off of it. Okay. I got to knock out the metal plates. They've never had the adjustment pieces done. To my surprise, $85 gets me all the parts to redo this. Normally I just, since I'm working on this so early in the project, I would be like in the evening when I don't want to do much and just going to have an icy cold adult beverage and do some thinking and make some notes. I'll rebuild wheel cylinders and little whatnots that I know I'm going to need coming up. But these were pretty well trashed. I'll show them to you. Well, one of them was. And the drive shaft for this baby is over there, but I can't use that donut weight on it due to the fact that it is almost as big as the aluminum drive shaft. It wouldn't fit in the transmission tunnel. And I don't want anything bouncing around and vibrating. So we'll change the ends. I want to change the U-joints. And then I got to get a hold of Summit because it's got a tape. It goes full tube, taper tube, and then it's got the fitting on it, the yoke. So what I want to do is cut it, clean it, and get one the same size U-joint, but the larger size diameter to fit the larger part of the drive shaft. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. See this right here, and this bigger here? So when I shorten the shaft, I'll be cutting it up here somewhere on the other end. So I want to get this yoke piece to fit this. I think that's a 3-inch tube. We'll get it cut open and get a mic on it. Someone said, well, you just could cut that, weld it together. No. I want the drive shaft piece tucked into the shaft, and I want the whole thing re-welded, not trying to butt two together, because with my luck, I'll snap it like a pretzel. I got the parts back here. We'll show you. Here's the sway bar that I'm working on. The electrical stuff. Tomorrow's main job, afternoon, we get back with the tubing and stuff. I got to clean this stuff out to get to that tote. It's got my starter and starter bolts in it. And I have some stuff up here I need to put in that tote. It goes back on the LS. There's my little pink ruler. Pay attention or I'll smack your knuckles. Show you what we found when we were doing this. It's just as easy. I keep everything boxed and separate. I don't like sorting through tons of stuff to find something. Now, this cylinder here is rebuildable. One of the pistons don't want to move as freely as it should. I could basically get the bleeder out, clean it up, pop it open, get a kit for it, and you got a good cylinder. This is something to do on rainy days or off days or brackets. Here's your shoes. They're not worn down. A little bit of wear. This one's got more meat on it. Here's your adjusters. They're frozen. See if I can get the other one. It is really jacked up. Okay, here's the other cylinder. I'm going to have to drill and tap this out. Most likely drill and tap that out. Kept the bolts in it because that way when I go to put the new ones on, I can come over here and know exactly where the bolts are. I don't like mislaying and line up all the new parts to the old parts to make sure all the parts match up. So they're the correct parts. Say that twice real fast, see how it goes. Here's the other one. I don't know where the cap is. It comes blowing off of there. And then I got springs. My pins, where are they? I wanted to show you the pins that were in it. Whatever. That's those parts. I'll just put this back in there. I got everything in a cart, getting ready to order it. I'm not nowhere close ordering it. I do that because sometimes I leave it in the cart for a little while, and they'll come up and say, we'll give you a 10% discount to, in other words, clear your cart out. So I just save 10%. What can I say? Stop neutral switch, battery cables. So all that stuff's got to be adjusted in length and remade because the truck this came out of, this is a truck engine, everything was on the driver's side. Well, on the MG, everything has to be on the passenger side. So the battery goes in the trunk. Okay? I need to cut out I'll get underneath with a plasma cutter when I get the back end cleaned out. I got to cut out what's left of it's kind of rusty, needs work anyway, so it's just going to get zapped with a plasma cutter. And then I'll get up in there with a grinder and knock off the rough edges so I don't go bleeding everywhere. I got an exhaust pipe coming right back dead under that battery, which is a no-no. So I'm moving the battery to a vented battery case in the trunk. And I still got to figure a place for my plumbing. What happens, I got the front filter coming out of the fuel tank. And it goes into the high pressure pump. The high pressure pump sends it to the regulator fuel pump, Corvette style. And then it allows rail pressure at 58 pounds per square inch. And then it has a return line blowing the extra back to the fuel tank. And then I run a single line, which was perfect for me because we don't have much room under these cars for much of anything. I'll run it up, bring it right up the passenger side, hop up, come around missing the headers, right up to the back of the engine to where the fuel rail is going to be. I think the manifold I'm buying, the fuel rails come with it, with the plugs, so I can either fuel it on either side, which would be nice to bring it up on the passenger side right into the fuel rail. And then we're putting a giggle box in it. A giggle box is a takeoff on the, back in the old days, they had an anti-tip device. If you're running around this little car, zipping around and rolls over, it shuts the fuel pump off. There's a flapper in the fuel tank and all this stuff to stop it from becoming a fireball. And now, someone had the bright idea to take the American impact switch. If you hit the bumpers or something, you know, it sets fuel off to your car till you reset it. They combined the two, and we just nicknamed it the giggle box. We're tickled to have it in there. And it'll be up on the firewall so that you can reach down and get to it if you get somebody bumps your car or something, sets it off, that you can reset it and move the car. But if there's a bad accident, roll over or whatever, you'll have no fuel being pumped at 58 pounds per square inch out of a hole in the line somewhere. That could be disastrous. She looks good with her new ball joints and everything. It's a shame I didn't have the bolts to finish the new sway bar position. For the larger sway bar, it's going to be coming in later. You saw me set up the header plate and show you how it's going to be done. I'm hoping to have all the tubes cut, polished, lined properly, and tack welded together. So when Jimmy comes over, he just sets up, does what he can do from the top, and then I'll remove the header while he's doing the other one, and he can lay it down here on the ground or whatever he wants to do it, and burn the other ones in. That is where we're going, guys. Brittany's starting to get her sassy look. She's going to look good when I put her front fenders back on her, and spacers, and a set of these GM rally wheels. Going to be nice. These will be 15 by 7s. Everybody's saying, well, you lower your car, lower your car. I don't want to lower it. I want to use what room I got under it, because I got a lot of stuff to go under there. If I lower it, I'll do it later. I may not. Looks good. The oil cap just barely clears the hood, people. The plenum will not, or the intake manifold, whatever you want to call it, will not, even with the 7-inch one. So we're going to have to deal some hood issues when we get to that part of the body work. The neck on the water pump is another issue. I'll deal with that. The lower fitting, I want to change out the thermostat, and I want to change out that housing, because definitely with the setup that I'm using, it is going to be nice to have that radiator in a position where the top comes out 90s over and goes right into the top line. So between the one that comes over and makes the one that turns the radiator, okay, I can cut that pipe and put the hot pipe fitting in for the steam pipe. I got all these little things in the back of my head we're doing. That's about what we're doing. We're just going to get a hold of it and make it happen. I'm going to get back on here in a minute. I'm going to shut the camera off because I got to polish and clean this metal, and I'll bring you back and we'll pick it up where we left off. Okay? Like, subscribe, and get your build on.